Hello there. I've just got back from Woolwich Crown Court, where Tommy was on trial for his liberty. In the end, he pleaded guilty and got 18 months. But he'll only serve 9 months of that sentence. The rest of it, presumably, he'll be out on some form of licence or other. I don't know the full details until I read the actual judgment. However, it was an interesting case. But I'm going to hand over to a couple of my guests and see what they made of it. And the first of those is the absolutely fabulous and legendary Ezra Levant of Rebel News. Hello there, and today I'm joined by the legend Ezra Levant. He's over here from Rebel. And it's fantastic to see him here supporting Tommy. He has been in the courtroom. I was locked outside. Typical for Jeff Taylor, isn't it? Anyway, I'm going to hand over. What occurred and what's your make on this situation?
Well, you weren't the only one who was kept out. I was grudgingly allowed in, but bizarrely, when the judge issued his ruling, a security guard came over to me and ordered me to stop tweeting, which was just bizarre. I don't know, you could write that off just to red tape in the UK or to a general hostility here in the judiciary. But to make a long story short, Tommy was sentenced to 18 months less 3 days in prison, but he'll only serve half of that in custody.
Right.
So the sentence was 18 months less 3 days. He'll serve 9 months. That's an astonishing amount of time for a journalist. Remember, he is not convicted of a crime. What happened today was not a crime. It was an act of civil contempt, and yet he'll be serving it in the most notorious prison in the UK, HMP Belmarsh, full of terrorists and murderers, and he'll be serving it in solitary confinement, which is a form of torture.
Yeah.
And for a journalist in 2024 to be sentenced to 9 months hard time for publishing a documentary contrary to a judge's wishes, that is the kind of thing we'd expect from Russia or Iran or China. And I think it's a dark day for the UK. And the worst part of it is either the absolute silence or even the excited support that the establishment gives to what's happened. Where are the press freedom groups? Where are other journalists saying if they can do this to him, they can do this to us? This isn't the only part. You might recall that a week ago, Tommy was arrested because he refused to give police the password to his cell phone under the Terrorism Act. What do you think a BBC reporter, or what do you think a Daily Mail reporter would say or do if their cell phone was seized by police and threatened with jail if they didn't hand over the password? But not a peep from the establishment in the UK. I'm very worried about civil liberties in this country. You might recall that Elon Musk recently said that he was worried to come here because he was afraid of being arrested. That is not a good look for the UK. I love the UK from abroad. I'm a foreigner. I'm from Canada. But if I was a Brit, I would be very concerned about my country, which was once the house of freedom of speech, now being the proving ground for censorship.
Yeah. But not only that, there was this issue of the injunction being not personally served, and then suddenly that it becomes a non-issue. And here we are meant to be the country where business legal standing is fantastic. The law is set. We know exactly what we're going to get. Suddenly now this judge has said, no, actually, you can just bung any old email out. What do you make of that?
You know what? The enormous resources of the state that are arrayed against Tommy Robinson, all the police, all the bureaucrats, all the lawyers, all the entire establishment, and they forgot to dot their I's and cross their T's. And for the judge to resolve that in favor of the government rather than the individual shows that the bias of the courts is not towards civil liberties, it's towards the authoritarian state. You can bloody well better believe that if Tommy Robinson had started some legal action and didn't dot an I or cross a T, it would be thrown out.
It would be thrown out immediately.
And there were other curious things that were happening in there too. The judge read from his laptop a very detailed ruling immediately after the hearing, not even a minute's break. It appeared to me that it had been pre-drafted. I don't know what was going on there. I've never seen anything like it before. I'm saddened by what's happened in the UK today.
Yeah, so am I. and it's really great to see someone like yourself coming across and supporting. But we do need to support you as well in your efforts. So if you can tell people what help do you need to keep
Well, you're
this
very
going?
kind. Thanks very much. I run a website called rebelnews.com. You can check us out. If you like what I'm doing over here in the UK, I've set up a special website called TommyTrial.com, and that's where I crowdfund my trips to the UK. I also made Tommy a promise that I would visit him in Belmarsh. I'm going to try and do that at least on a monthly basis, and I would encourage others here in the UK to do so too.
Good. Thank you very much
Nice to see
indeed.
you. Thanks for
And
your
you.
hospitality.
Yeah,
Thank you.
So there you have it from the legendary Ezra Levant, who came across the Atlantic from the North American regions to tell us that our liberties are at risk. And we're meant to be the father of all democracies and the centre of justice for the world, aren't we? Yes. Anyway, I'll now hand over to my next guest, Nick Tenconi, the interim leader of UKIP. Oh, and by the way, we are under a bit of time pressure to leave the area, and the police were trying to get rid of the car that was meant to be taking me back here, and they were trying to egg me on. So excuse that few hand signals I made, because I was trying to keep them all at bay while I finished the conversation with Nick. And now I'm joined, as you can see, by Nick Tenconi, the interim leader of UKIP, who's making a bit of a splash along the political route as he's bringing certain issues to the fore, which is going to be upsetting quite a few wokesters out there. Anyway, we're here today supporting Tommy Robinson and looking at the trial results. What do you make of it all?
So the case and its particulars, obviously, there's something I can't comment on because it's a long, convoluted case. I've spoken to one side of the camp who are very informed, who say that this is a civil matter, and they have their opinion that Tommy's being persecuted. And then there's the other side of the camp which says no, these are the facts. I'm not here to talk about those. What's done is done. We've just received the verdict. I'm here to show support with British patriots and with all those common sense concerned citizens who are living in absolute fear of the far left tyrannical Labour government, who are looking to clamp down even further, if that were possible, on common sense citizens, patriots, through the use of silencing, through the use of censorship, through the use of propaganda and fear tactics, and of course thuggish behaviour from law enforcement. We need to provide these people with some hope that we will never let this happen again in Britain, and the politicisation of our judiciary and our two-tier judiciary, as we're seeing, again, I can't speak specifics on cases, but in the case of Wayne O'Rourke, on the blood of Peter Lynch is on Starmer's hands, Lucy Connolly, just to name a few names. And we also see, in the case of Ricky Jones, Labour councillor, calling for throats to be slit, we see that he pleaded not guilty because he had the lawyers, he had the funding, and he knew to plead not guilty so he can be tried in January when things have calmed down. We're seeing two-tier judiciary. People are standing up and saying, we've had enough, we want our country back.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I was just talking to Ezra Levant, and he's come all the way across the pond to tell us that our human rights are at risk. And I'm thinking, the new world is telling the old guys that I find that absolutely gobsmacking, don't you?
Yeah, absolutely crazy. The fact that we're garnering attention from across the world is absolutely terrifying.
Yeah.
Absolutely terrifying.
No. So,
great, but terrifying.
Yeah. No, I understand. So, anyway, you want people to join UKIP, yes?
Join UKIP, that's it. Join the new right. There's a warm welcome to patriots, common sense concerned citizens, people who understand and see that the far left tyranny that we are witnessing has been building for decades. It is a branch of the establishment. We also know now, through nothing that I invited, Reform and Reform's high command are establishment. They can be cut by the far left. They can and will pander to the legacy media because they want power, and it's so important. It's not even my subjective opinion anymore. Reform and Reform's high command want the liberal, disgruntled Tory vote. They want the power. They have that at the forefront of their minds with regards to every single move they make and their policy as well.
I understand, and they've become Westminsterised, basically. Yeah. So, anyway, I've got to go. I'm being hastened on. So really great to see you again, and I'll see you at the next meeting and all the rest of it. And there you have it. So we had a good day, I suppose. And a lot of people are saying, oh, 9 months. But in some ways, it might be a bit of a victory for him because he was expecting a lot longer than that. So to come away with 9 months actually inside is maybe a let-off for him. I don't know. It's going to be tough for him. I'm not going to take that away from him. But at least it's not 2 or 4 years even. Anyway, thank you for watching.